Shimelle Laine, and I'm here with something a little new for 2013, and it's called The Best of Both Worlds. The idea is that it's something a little bit like getting a monthly kit, except you still have the choice to pick and choose or substitute and make a few decisions along the way. Each kit is something that I'm putting together and will be available from 2Ps at the beginning of the month. So you're getting the picks that I'm choosing for that particular month. And then you'll see me use these particular supplies throughout the month on all the different projects that I'm posting on my blog. So you'll see them in the sketch videos, you'll see them as starting points, and you'll see them here and there throughout a few other things. So without any more waiting, this is the first of these kits, and they come all packed together like this. So here's what you're getting. Each kit will have a mix of papers and then a few things that can stay in your stash a little bit longer. So for example, in this kit, there's a set of stamps. These are by Kelly Perky and they're exclusive to 2Ps, and they have all sorts of different phrases that are just great for all sorts of different things. So they're really, really versatile. And when I'm putting these together, I'm trying to come up with different products that you could use for all different topics, not just one specific theme or anything like that, but all sorts of things that I use for a variety of topics, because I don't tend to scrapbook the same pictures of one event all in a row. I like to mix them up. So this is the stamp set. Now, the idea of it being the best of both worlds means that, say you don't stamp or the stamps are out of your budget, then you can eliminate that element from the kit, and you've immediately brought the price point down to something that might be in your budget. But if you like the stamps, you use stamps, and you want to add them in, then you'll be able to see the stamps that I'm using throughout the month on my projects, and you have a product that's not going to be gone when you've used all the papers. You're going to be able to use these stamps and continuing, as long as you want to keep them and keep using them, right? So that's the general idea. So there'll always be something like this, a set of stamps that you can then keep using long after the rest of the contents are gone. And a second item that's almost like that but not quite, you will eventually run out if you keep using this, but a roll of washi tape in this case, because you're going to get plenty of use out of a washi tape roll. There's a lot there. So this time I've chosen a teal design with white polka dot, and that's from Bella Boulevard. Something in the way of embellishment, I'm using these Follow Your Heart buttons from My Mind's Eye, and they include both regular plastic buttons and shaped printed chipboard buttons. So there's little banner pieces, there's butterflies and flowers and all sorts of different pieces like that. Again, this is a slightly older element. It's not old at all, but a little bit older than some of the items that are hot off, brand new press type sort of thing. So if you already had these in your collection, you could take this off the shopping list and use the one that you already have. That way you're not duplicating something that you already have in your stash. That's the idea of the best of both worlds. Hope that's making sense. Carrying on, you know that I love letter stickers, so there's always going to be letter stickers in the kit. This time there are 3. One set of thickers, which I really love, and these are the gold glitter thickers in Journal. Now, say you're not a fan of glittery letters, or you're not a fan of the tone of gold and you'd rather have another color. You can swap. You know that the titles will work because this is the font that I'm going to use in all the examples. If you want to swap for any other color, there's several different colors and there's non-glittered versions in the store. So you could just substitute that and you can still have the rest of the kit be the same. Then 2 smaller flat alphabets. There's one from Studio Calico, which is a navy blue tile alphabet. So all of these come off as little boxes with a nice mix of fonts. And then something that is not a tile and is a bit more, well, it's all one font, so it's a bit more consistent, and that's the Jilly Bean Soup Alpha Beans in Tart Teal. Now, you'll notice that a few I've used here already, and that's certainly not how yours will come. Yours will come as a nice new sheet, but I had this in my stash, and when I was putting the kit together, I realized that this was a set that would go well with everything else I'd picked, and I'd used it for one title, so I figured I could just go ahead and use the rest of the sheet. No need to start a whole new one just to show you. You get the idea. Then on to the paper. Now, there's plenty of pattern paper, and you may know from watching my pages that I use way more pattern paper than cardstock. So what I decided is that I would just put pattern paper in the kit, and I've included subtle patterns that will work as backgrounds. And then if you wanted to have cardstock in your kit because you prefer adding the cardstock in, then you could just take out a few pattern papers and or add in a few solid sheets of cardstock. And the idea with that is that when I buy a kit that comes with cardstock, I find that I really struggle to use it and I'd rather not waste it. I'd rather have pattern instead. So for me, and this is a better option. So that way you have the freedom of deciding whether you would like all pattern, all the patterns plus some cardstock, or take out a couple patterns that really aren't your style and add in some cardstock to substitute. Hope that makes sense. So the patterns in the January selection include some aqua from Pebbles, this aqua and yellow watercolor from Basic Gray, again aqua and yellow in a floral from October Afternoon. Then changing the colors up a little bit, there's a red and cream print from Jenny Bolin, a blue, green, and yellow floral from Pebbles, red, gray, and cream from Studio Calico, a cream and white lace doily print from My Mind's Eye, a doodled floral in red and cream from My Mind's Eye, and then a sheet of journaling cards from the Today's Story collection in the Photo Freedom line. Now, I've chosen the portrait style 4x6 version of this, but there's also the same collection in landscape. So if you prefer that size, you could just swap this one out and add in the landscape, and then you can have what would work best for you. Now, you may have noticed that there were a few really bold patterns here. So I just want to show you that the bold patterns, if they're not your style, don't worry. I've thought this through, and this is how I went about choosing them. So say, for example, that these three are really floral and you don't use florals, or you just don't use big, bold prints. If I turn them over, anything that has a really bold print has something that's really subtle and versatile on the other side. So there's two different polka dots, a yellow and a blue, and then a red and cream distressed diagonal stripe. All really, really easy to use. So I'll show you the B-sides of everything else too. There's one here that has a really subtle side that I've shown you and a bold side on the other one. So the journaling boxes have this on the other side. This one is nice and subtle and lacy and feminine, but there's also this great big bold floral if you were up for the challenge of working with that. The red on one side has a camera print on the other. This has the same color but a different style with kind of a vintage logo on the other side. The watercolor has this quilted look on the other side, which you could cut into small pieces to use as embellishment, or you could use the full page as a background. And then this really subtle diamond print in the aqua has a stripy floral on the other side. So those are my paper choices for January and everything that comes in the shopping list this time. And then there'll be a new selection of supplies for the start of February. So you can click the link below the video to go over to Tupi's, and if you want to have the kit exactly like I'm using it this month, you just add one of everything to your bucket, and then you can do a little more shopping if you want, or you can check out with just what's there. But then you also have that freedom to do some moving around, some substitutions. You can get rid of things that maybe you already have in your stash. You don't need to duplicate by buying them again. So you have that little bit of freedom. Okay?